Congressman Mike Waltz is joining us now live this morning for his weekly briefing with us on WNDB. And Congressman, we're all awakening to the news today that the President and the First Lady have now been tested positive for coronavirus. Your thoughts, sir?
Well, I was just with them last week at the rally in Jacksonville, Florida. First of all, my thoughts and prayers go to the First family and pray for a speedy recovery. I can tell everyone listening that anyone around the president is tested. They have a very vigorous regime there in the White House. And even being around the president, Mark, I mean, he keeps his distance, and he'll tell you to keep his distance. So this was somewhat surprising. Even at the rally, he's coming in on Air Force One now, and he is on and off the plane, little interaction with anybody or no interaction with anybody who hasn't been tested. I'll be looking today for some type of strong statement of reassurance. I always go to the kind of the national security angle here, and I think we need to send a message out to the world, reassuring the country, reassuring our allies, but also one out to our adversaries, particularly rogue states like Iran and North Korea and others. This now is not the time to try to mess with the U.S. That the president is absolutely in charge of our armed forces. And then finally, Mark, if the president is one of the most energetic and just strong personalities I've ever been around, I would not be surprised if he's asymptomatic and just empowers right through this, gets through the quarantine, and gets back out there.
Very good. I want to go to another topic. Obviously, everything else is of lesser importance, but this week, the China Task Force released their report on what Congress can do to defend America against the Chinese. Can you tell us what we're thinking now? What the thinking is out there?
Well, this was a very comprehensive report, and what I liked about it is it had representatives from 10 committees. So that's stretching from Homeland Security to financial to education, labor, how we do our visas, and then, of course, the military and intelligence aspects. And it recognizes that China is and has become a Cold War-like adversary, and this is a whole of government, whole of society competition that we're in: diplomatic, informational, military, economic, truly across the board. The country needs to wake up to it. I think it absolutely has in the wake of what's happened with Corona, to see that the Chinese Communist Party is not our friend, and that in particular, the first thing we need to do, what I was very focused on, is bringing our supply chains back home, Mark, from medical to critical minerals to technological. It needs to come back to the United States. We have to have access to those key things. We've learned in the wake of Corona, things like masks and gloves can be a true national security item. So I'd encourage everyone to look at the report. We'll make sure we get that to you, Mark. It has over 170 legislative recommendations, 2/3 of which were bipartisan, and Congress needs to do its job and get these items put into place.
Very good, Congressman. We'll look forward to that. Can you tell us what may be happening with this possible COVID relief package? I heard that Nancy Pelosi wants to load it up with a whole bunch of stuff, including, I guess, benefits for illegal aliens, and that could just kill the whole deal, right?
Well, it has killed the whole deal so far, Mark, unfortunately. It's loaded up like a Christmas tree with all kinds of ultra-progressive, liberal priorities, and just now is not the time. I mean, these things are way outside of what the country needs for COVID. We have tried repeatedly to get just specific items at least extended for now, like businesses to get another chance at PPP that need it, liability reform so that people aren't getting sued as they try to reopen. But unfortunately, Speaker Pelosi is taking an all-or-nothing approach. Last night, the Democrats passed another bill, despite our objections, that they pared down from $3.5 trillion to $2.5 trillion. They're calling that a skinny version, Mark. And meanwhile, the other concern I have is hundreds of billions of dollars are still out there unspent. for a variety of programs, and we can't get those reprogrammed to places that they need unless the Democrats will come to the table, truly negotiate, and get something directed specifically at COVID without all of this other stuff hung on there, into law, so the country can get the help it needs and continue to move forward.
Congressman, this week we learned that Walt Disney Company is going to furlough or otherwise permanently lay off 28,000 employees, mostly from California and Florida. And I want to pivot to the fact that you have discussed a national service issue. Matter of fact, you wrote a proposal on that issue and an op-ed a couple of months ago. The time sounds right for Congress to take this up as an issue, as these people are displaced from their jobs. Some kind of national service as we try to help these people through it financially, but something that could come back to the country. Can you comment?
Well, so first I want to make the distinction with Florida and California. The vast majority of those layoffs are out in California because they have kept such a shutdown mentality. Florida has not, although we are, my understanding, Disney is laying off 6,000 out of the 28 here. And to your point, Mark, it drives both of us nuts that we're sending out federal unemployment on top of state unemployment. Folks are making just as much at home as they would on the job. I want some service for it, and there's plenty to be done in our parks, in our schools, in our communities. So I couldn't agree with you more. I'll continue to push that legislation. We thought we would get a form of it in this coronavirus package, but again, and as long as the speaker takes all or nothing, my way or highway, and really refuses to seriously negotiate, unfortunately, we're stuck, and that's a shame for the country.
Well, we'll look forward a little bit later today, back to our original topic, to hear a reassuring statement from the president and from the White House. We'll be praying for the recovery for the president and the first lady. I know you test yourself consistently, so stay in good health, sir, and thanks for being with us on WNDB this morning.
Will do, Mark. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.
You got it.